Do you ever get something in hand and it just surprises you? That's how I feel about this new flashlight from Wuben. For a while now, I've been seeing this model online and I didn't really think much of it. It looked too thick, too heavy, just not for me. Yet when I finally got it in hand, it all changed. Somehow just pulling this out of the box erased all my previous thoughts about this light, and now this light has somehow turned into probably my favorite flashlight I've ever owned. Today we're talking about the Wuben X4 and why it feels like something pulled off the screen from a science fiction movie. It's crazy how far technology has come since the days of old mag lights, and it's fascinating to see all the innovation packed into this thing. Sit back and relax and let's check out this crazy flashlight. So right off the bat, this looks different from any other flashlight I've ever owned before it. When I think of a pocket light, I think of a tube-like design with a tail switch on one end and the light on the other. Yet this one turns everything on its head. First, we get rid of the cylindrical design for this more rectangular flat one. Flat lights have been very popular for a little while now with the Streamlight Wedge and the Olight Arc Felt. This one is definitely not as thin as those, as this features a width of just over an inch, but it packs a lot into this frame. This is also a bit bigger than something I would typically carry, as this is just under 4 inches tall and about 1.5 inches wide. So its size is definitely a trade-off. But the other side of the coin, there are so many features jammed into this light. On paper, this is not something I would be interested in. Yet once I finally got this in hand, all that changed. This has quickly become my favorite light, and here's why. First of all, I want the brightest light possible. Most of my carry lights are all over 1,000 lumens, and it's so crazy to see these huge outputs, as I remember not too long ago carrying a light that had around 200 lumens and thinking it was so bright. Yet this X4 has a max output of 1,500 lumens. For a light this size, that's truly impressive. Due to the wide head of this light, the beam is wide and it covers a large distance and can reach up to 205 meters. However, the high output isn't even my favorite part. This light features so many other little tricks that it's hard to remember them all. I'll try to go through them briefly and hopefully don't forget one. First up, this light has a side light bar so you can get some additional light than just from the top. To access this side light, you push the control switch up from the lock position to this first icon. Here we can tap on the side button and it will activate the light bar. What's cool is you can use this dial to either increase or decrease the brightness, and it'll flash once you reach the highest output. However, if you hold down the button, you can switch over to RGB colors, and using the dial again, you can switch to different colors. Now I have no idea when I'm going to need or use this, but it's pretty cool. Now I mentioned this control switch on the side. This allows you to access the two other modes outside of the light bar itself. The furthest forward is the moonlight mode, and it's just 5 lumens. This is perfect for you want a little bit of light without blinding yourself or others. Now the middle mode is for the front light source. You can either access this with the button or this little lever here on the back. I believe this tail switch is more for tactical applications, as is for faster activation. With the light on through the button, we can again use the dial to either increase or decrease the output. I've owned a lot of different lights over the years, and many have crazy UI to switch through the brightness levels, and this dial just makes it so much easier. There's no crazy thought or memory, and instead you just have this haptic feedback of just getting the perfect desired amount of light. I think this is so cool, it might be my favorite feature on this light. So it has high output, tons of modes and fun colors, and overall just feels quality. Yet there's more to this light. This light is also USB rechargeable, and the port is covered by the activation switch on the side. I hate having to swap out batteries, and I love having my everyday carry light have the option to recharge, especially by USB-C. I hate companies that focus on specific charging systems, looking at you Olight, and instead by using USB-C, I can use the same cable I use for my phone, which is perfect for a daily carry light as a USB-C cable is never far away. And should you have issues with the battery, Wuben actually did something I think is really cool. If you go to the tail cap and you switch this lock switch up, you can press in, and this will open up the battery compartment. And this ships with a Wuben branded 18650 battery, and I love having the option to swap the battery in case there are any issues with this one, or if you're traveling and just want to swap in a fresh one without waiting on charging the whole light itself. I really hope more companies go this route, as allowing you to access the internal battery, as if there's ever an issue with the battery, on some lights you just have to toss the entire thing. Here you can swap in a new one and continue on your way. And while we're looking at this tail cap, I also want to note that this is magnetic. Another huge win for this light. I know some people might not love that, but for me personally, I love having a magnetic tail cap, as I can attach it to a metallic surface and get some hands-free light. The only downside is this is a bit of a heavy light, and this magnet leaves a little bit to be desired. It's not the strongest magnet in the world, and on some surfaces, it doesn't even support the weight of the light itself. And speaking of weight, this is alright in the pocket. Due to its size, it's not the most comfortable light in the pocket by any means, but it features a pretty wide pocket clip that works well. How the pocket clip is set up is you could put this on the bill of a hat and almost act like a headlamp. It would be a bit heavy, but it would work. Overall, it just seemed like Wuben thought of everything on this light and just threw it all in. I can't even think what else I would have added, as everything I already like is already here. I would love to see a mini version of this light in the future, maybe half the weight and half the thickness, and it would probably be my favorite light of all time. The craziest thing about this light isn't the lumen count, how many modes or features, it's instead the price. If you tossed me this and told me to guess a price, I would say maybe around the $100 mark, and it would put it in the same bracket as the Olight ArcFelt Ultra, as both feature around the same output. This actually has 100 more lumens and a similar footprint. However, the ArcFelt Ultra is $120 right now, and yet this Wuben X4 costs less than half of that at just $50 at the time of this recording. And that's insane. For the quality of this thing, I'm completely blown away. I truly wish this light was released a few years back, as I would have saved a lot of money that I spent on lights that are way inferior to this. It's safe to say I really love this light. It's not perfect, I wish it was a bit smaller, lighter, and featured a stronger magnet, but outside of that, this is the complete home run. I'll make sure to include a link to this light in the description below. Let me know your thoughts on this lights in the comments, as I'd love to know your opinions. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.